All right, let's talk about Will McDonald of the New York Jets. He was the 15th selection in that draft class, and a lot of people criticized the move because they felt it was a bit of a panic pick. It seemed pretty clear to everyone that the Jets wanted a tackle. However, the Steelers traded up to 14 to select the tackle that the Jets were probably going for. Jets kind of scrambled, went with Will McDonald, who didn't play a lot year one. Only had 180 snaps, but I still figured, hey, 180 snaps of NFL tape is still probably a better way to evaluate someone than looking at their college tape, even if it is a bit of a small sample size. So figured it could be interesting to make a film study and talk about how do we feel about Will McDonald at this point. First, if we look at his Pro Football Focus grades, they're actually pretty solid for the 1 year that he's played. 183 total snaps, as I mentioned earlier. But the 71.6 grade, not bad. Pass rush grade, okay, 68.9. That's his best grade that he has. So, for a rookie, certainly solid. But again, the small sample size is very real. So let's get into the film and talk about the positives and negatives he showed while with the Jets and his, the small sample size he got being on the field. So first, let's start off with a play like this, going up against the Denver Broncos right tackle, and watch what's going to happen when this play begins. When this play begins, McDonald, goes over towards the tackle, and at this point, there isn't the hand placement is pretty much just really the move for McDonald at this point is to try and bull rush, try to overpower the tackle he's going up against, which, okay, it's something he was able to do in college from time to time. And here I think you do see some strength as he pushes that tackle back, but not quite enough to, it was going to be hard to get a real pressure that way against the quarterback. But, again, I think you could look at, hey, doing some nice things, but probably is going to need some more moves on a play like that to really be able to consistently pull off pressures. Moving over to this play, let's see him try a move. So he's going up one-on-one against a right tackle once again for Denver. When this play begins, there kind of is a little bit of a chip right there worth mentioning, which, didn't do a lot of contact, but maybe made it more difficult for McDonald if he wanted to try an outside move or something like that. So that's totally worth mentioning. But you see right here, what McDonald is going to try and do is going to try to get his right arm underneath the right arm of the right tackle. That's what he's trying to do. It's right arm on right arm right here, which, again, for a right tackle, the right hand is usually the most important part of this block. Watch how when McDonald does it, okay, kind of gets the hand placement he wants, but for the tackle, all he has to do now is try and push McDonald behind the quarterback. And this is just going to come down to, does the tackle have the strength to do that, or can McDonald win the strength matchup and essentially drive himself right into the quarterback? Well, here, I would actually say it's a pretty fair fight. Now, it looked worse because Russell Wilson stepped up in the pocket and did a good job of scrambling outside the pocket, which, again, is never ideal when you give up containment. But, if it's a quarterback who isn't quite as good at navigating the pocket, maybe McDonald would have gotten the pressure. I would still look at that and say that's a good block, though. I think the block was the win on that one. But you are seeing McDonald, show some near flashes that you hope maybe in year 2 and year 3 can do more. Because, something like this, for example, you can see these types of situations. He did have a decent amount of box score stats, and sometimes they are from plays I'm showing you earlier, of those near wins can still turn into wins. Like this, for example, one-on-one matchup against a left tackle. This play begins, McDonald runs towards the outside, right here. It's not like he's winning, but he did drive the tackle a decent amount back. So for the quarterback, this is Davis Mills on this play, not C.J. Stroud. Watch what happens. Mills tries to scramble up, but because McDonald was in a pretty good position, he was able to reach out and tackle Davis Mills and gets the sack right there. Is that the most highlight reel level sack you'll ever see? No, it was in part due to Davis Mills thinking he had more space than he did. For sure, you could argue that he wouldn't have gotten the pressure had Mills stayed where he was at. That's also fair. But football is not baseball. There are more than just, one variable for each rep. So because of the other variables, being able to make this stuff happen, it still is a positive. And again, you hope this stuff turns into being able to get consistent pressures and get past the tackle. I'll be honest, I'm not sure I saw it a lot consistently right away. But again, we did see flashes. Something like this, where it's going to be a one-on-one block here. The right tackle is going to block Will McDonald one-on-one. Worth mentioning as well, though, before we get into the play, this is also a flea flicker. So, okay, that's obviously worth noting, is that's going to change things. McDonald, of course, does not know what the concept is pre-snap. But watch him on this one, and watch him really do a good job of kind of, gets by quickly. And so even though he didn't exactly know the concept, right here, he's in position to try and, create a pressure on Bailey Zappi. So that's very good. And then here he also is able to finish off the play, barely. I mean, hey, it's snow and you're doing what you can, is able to just make sure he finishes off the play. Bailey Zappi was ruled down here, so gets credit for the sack on this one. So again, it's good stuff here by Will McDonald. I think it's fair to say the tape doesn't wow me when I watch Will McDonald's tape. I'm not like, oh my God, this guy is the next star in this league. I'm just not. That's not what I see. I see a guy who, shows a lot of flashes, can, be a difficult guy to block. I don't look at him and say, oh, this guy doesn't belong in the league or anything like that. I think the concern, if you're a Jets fan, is like, okay, a lot of times when guys are getting drafted in the middle of the first round, they're showing a lot more than Will McDonald shows year one, even with the small sample size. I mean, part of it is the Jets didn't need an edge rusher, right? So they drafted a guy that they just liked and figured, well, we'll need an edge rusher eventually. Year two, maybe you'll get more playing time. They did a very similar thing with Jermaine Johnson, who had a very good year last year. So I think that's kind of the logic. But still, it is a bit disappointing if you're a Jets fan. Now, it kind of worked out that Aaron Rodgers got hurt right away, and this ends up being your kind of all-in year, as opposed to last year being, an all-in year. So because of that, obviously they would have liked to have Aaron Rodgers, but I'm just saying, knowing what you know now, if Rodgers was going to go down for the entire 2023 season, building for 2024 was the right move, which they kind of inadvertently did with the Will McDonald selections. So, or I guess intentionally did, but it worked out for them there. I don't know what to expect from Will McDonald in year two. I'm not fully expecting him to come in and be like a star player or anything like that, but I'm also not expecting him to come in and be a scrub. I think he should be able to add some value. The question is just, is he going to come in and be like a solid rotational player, or is he going to be like a solid starter, or is he going to be like a star? Those are kind of the questions I have with Will McDonald, and that I just don't know the answer to. That I think we're going to have to wait and see, but he'll probably at least be solid right away with the potential of being more than just solid as time goes on. That's what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.